All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Fantastic Four Life Story, Video 5, the 2000s, whatever, Issue 5, we're going to go over today. I'm going over this right after I just finished recording for Issue 4, so all this is still fresh in my head, but we're just going to go hop in. So before we do hop in, just know that we already went through the whole Fantastic Four of narrating, so who else better to narrate than Franklin Richards? After the one we call the Silver Surfer arrived and made mincemeat of our defenses, the Earth began to accept its fate. We like to imagine that a common threat would unite the world, bring us all together. And maybe for a while it did, but as usual, the feeling that the challenge was too big, the consequences were too horrible to contemplate, united us only in inaction. As our conflict struggles, all our fights over what the future would be, just sort of gave up on them. At this point, I suppose, all of us said, why bother? And we see that United Nations leaders just give up, and we see a countdown until Galactus. But of course, not everyone just threw in the towel. Desperate some sort of edge against Galactus, Dad rebuilt the subspace chamber. So of course, Reed didn't give up. He wants to find a Galactus weakness to use. And we see that they share a psychic connection. The subspace chamber amplifies this psychic connection to Galactus, but the longer he spends in there, the riskier it becomes to his mind, and yet he goes in there every day, searching in vain for some weakness, searching for hope. But chase ghosts long enough, and you become one. He's always been looking to the stars, searching for something. Whatever it was that made life worth living, he seemed convinced that it laid out there. Something he used to say to me when I was a kid, the reason the sky exists is so that we have to look up from time to time. And we see that Franklin is talking about Reed basically missing important events in his life, which is also what Sue was saying about Reed. So it makes sense that he just kind of forgot about the family. This isn't usually what normal Reed Richards would do, by the way. Maybe to an extent, but not as much as this Reed Richards. This guy's going crazy with this. Spending 4 decades on Galactus is insane, but whatever. They pull him out, power the subspace down, and then we see that an intruder comes in. They lock the place down. They're in the living room. The whole Fantastic Four runs in there. They gas the living room. They walk in with masks. And we see that's the Silver Surfer. I let myself in. I hope you don't mind. They ask him, what do you want? And he says, I know what you're looking for in the laboratory is going to save your planet. It won't work, but there is another option. So we learn the history of the Silver Surfer. On my homeworld, I was like yourself, an astral explorer, hoping as you do to save my world from a calamity unknown, never suspecting that I was that calamity. I projected my consciousness deeper and deeper into the cosmos until I felt his presence, and he felt mine. It was my connection to Galactus that brought him to Zen and La, and in my desperation, I hoped our connection would be the thing that saved it. And we see that Galactus is destroying another world, but he does feel Norrin Rad. Norrin Rad being the Silver Surfer, that's his real name. But going into it, I made him an offer to place our psychic connection in his service. As an astronomer who devoted his life to mapping the galaxy, I knew of millions of worlds to which I could guide him. For the price of sparing one, he agreed. That I might better serve him, he endowed me with the power cosmic, a greater force in the universe you will not find. And even though he gave me a drop of his power, no other mortal could dream of it. I had saved everyone I had ever known and loved, and I became a butcher of billions. That was several millennia ago. I'm old, to put it plainly. I am dying. And then Franklin shows up and he's like, yo, what's going on? Is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, everything is good. And Silver Surfer keeps going. Galactus is coming to Earth, not to devour it, but Reed, he's going to make you the same offer that he made me. It has been so long since he has felt such a connection, since he has found one worthy of wielding the power cosmic, of serving him. He will spare the Earth, but only if you agree to become his herald. And so Ben poses the question, that's cool, but like, why didn't you just take him to some uninhabited planets? And he replies, the power cosmic is fueled by the concentrated energy of the universe. And of all the forces of the universe, there's none more concentrated than the power of consciousness. Nothing beckons more destruction than the awareness that you are being destroyed. But as Herald, you are not powerless. While I've condemned many worlds to extinction by choosing where to lead my master, I also have saved countless irreplaceable civilizations from destruction. It is this power that I now offer to you, Reed Richards. And Reed responds, if there's one lesson that this planet should have mastered by now, it is that you do not defeat a god by becoming one. You do not change power, it changes you. The answer is no. I will not take your powers, Norn Rad. Norn says, cool. We'll see how you like it when everybody you loved is dead. So I'll see you in 4 years. Hopefully you change your mind by then. And he just dips. And Sue says, thank you for not taking that offer, Reed. I love you now. So picking up in Wakanda, Ben and Franklin go. And Franklin goes on, they still think of me as a kid, which, I mean, they feel like they need to lie to me. After Uncle Johnny died, they took even more pains to protect me. But when there comes a point where you cannot allow yourself to be treated as a kid anymore, and we see that Franklin is an adult male. I mean, this dude is already married, and he's got like 2 kids. They're not babies. They're like maybe 8 or 9. They look like 10. These guys are more grown than you would think for being called a kid, but I guess that's just how parents see their children, as always as kids. And then Franklin's wife is like, hey, I got somebody here to see you. It's my brother, also known as King T'Challa. So he's married Shuri. I mean, this man was ballin'. He got the princess of Wakanda as his wife. Oh, what are we doing? How, that makes you think like, oh, what's he pulling? What's he bagging? But he meets with T'Challa, and T'Challa just gets straight to the point. I know you were born with powers, the ability to amplify the electric impulses in your brain, and one of them near you. It's why your parents stopped hiring nannies to take care of you. It's why you spent decades suppressing your powers, because they didn't want an altered genes to derail your life the way that theirs had. And then T'Challa continues, if they'd done everything differently, you'd be damaged in other ways. Just don't think about it. Parenthood is more or less just choosing how you're going to screw up your kids. But T'Challa gives Franklin, Reed, gives Franklin a gift. It's a vibrating headband to help control his powers, to give them focus. So basically we learn that he's got powers. His parents were like, hey, don't use your powers. We don't want you to end up like us. So that's about it. He doesn't really use his powers. It doesn't seem like he has manipulating powers like he does in the main Marvel universe. He's just got like some psychic stuff. But we pick up with Silver Surfer at Doom's castle at the capital of Latveria. So Silver Surfer goes on, a planet is but a faint echo of the power cosmic. You could harness all the power on Earth. It would not even be enough to slow his hand. Galactus is still going to come. Doom replies, I know. His power cannot be matched. He's the greatest hunter in the universe, but the life of a hunter is precarious, especially for those who devour planets at a greater rate than the universe provides them. As long as we learned on this planet, what we gain from hunting pales in comparison to what you get from conquest. And Norn Rad says, okay, I'm listening. Like, what are you thinking of? And Doom says, tell Galactus about me. Tell him that I will kneel before him and I'll help him harvest a bunch of people. I'll make big camps, big breeding camps that he can have 500 million people every year. Is that not good enough for Galactus? And the Silver Surfer responds, what the fuck? I've never heard of anything like this before in all my years going to planets, so cool. I'll keep that in mind. And Doom says, yeah, I'm not Reed Richards. He thought that if he had AI, he could stop Galactus. We would have done that by now if it was right. And we see the Mad Thinker making the Doom bots. He's making the Doom bots. He's under control making Doom bots. That's awesome. Doom bots are going to come back. So we keep up with the rest of the world. They're all just preparing for Galactus to come and just kill them all. Hammer Industries made cryo coffins for space. And you can bring your pets now. So everybody pretty much just gave up. Everybody just accepts that Galactus is going to come and just kill him. But we see that the Fantastic Four, at least Reed, is still trying. He's in the lab again from the previous issues. It starts going off medical alert. But basically this time, Sue's like, you need to quit it. We have 2 years left. Let's just spend living it. Just give up. And Reed's like, you're right, because I don't want to lose you again. So I wouldn't say he gives up, but he mostly just stops trying. Franklin says that they got back together, and we see all of them at a bar, the Runaway, where this is Ben's favorite bar that we've seen in all of the issues so far. And we see Franklin go on, I don't think I ever saw Dad as at peace with the world as when he gave up trying to save it. Sometimes you don't realize how heavy a burden is until you put it down. In the months running up to Galactus Day, the whole world seemed to exist in suspended animation. If it had continued forever like this, one might have called it heaven. And we see that the runaway is actually shut down. And then we see the Fantastic Four leaving the bar. And Franklin and his wife are just noticing Reed and Sue just kicking it off, talking about Billy Joel, this random person they saw, Piano Man. And Franklin says, there's a point at which we sacrifice so much of ourselves that we forget who we really are. But picking up on 2006, Galactus Day is here. So we see they announce, the day we've been dreaded is finally upon us. Observatories have confirmed that a large metallic object has come from orbit to Earth. Tell your loved ones or whoever you have around you that they mean so much. We'd like to thank everyone who's helped the human race survive to this point, even though all of your records and memories and accomplishment is about to be forever destroyed. I hope you know how much it mattered. Goodbye, everyone. And then Franklin goes on, in the months leading up to Galactus Day, we moved to New York to be closer to Mom and Dad, so we could all be together when it happened. And we see everybody just staring at the sky. The sky changed a little bit. Franklin continues on, so that we could be ready. But how do you prepare for the inconceivable? And now that it's right here, we couldn't believe it. We'd known for decades that this day was coming. And Silver Surfer shows up and he's like, yo, hour of destruction's upon you. I gotta go, but before I go, this is my last chance. You gotta accept this offer. You can save this world, but you'll kill a bunch of others. And then Reed says, yeah, I'll do it. I'll pick it up. Tell Galactus I'll be his herald. I don't care. Which total switch up, by the way. Just really pranked everybody. Said last 2 years we should chill out because I'm just gonna be the herald. And so while leaving, Reed says, Franklin, all your life we thwarted your potential. We shuttled you back and forth. We sent you away in hopes that others could control your powers when we could not. I feel at least I owe you a life. I can't turn my back on my children and my grandchildren, but I got to do this so that you guys survive. And Norrin Rad says, cool, I'm going to tell my master that you will come up. And Reed responds, hey, can you just give me the rest of the day of my family? Silver Surfer's cool with that, so I don't know how that works, but yep. Now we cut to Galactus and Norrin Rad talking. We don't actually get to see Reed spend the day with his family, but Norrin Rad says, they're approaching. And Galactus says, that's cool. After a millennia serving with me, I'm going to give you one final gift. You are dead. Cool. It's the end. For you, Norrin Rad. So Norrin Rad just flies off into space dead, thinking about his wife. But man, croak boated. Really folded. But we see the spaceship pop up. You are on time, I see. An auspicious beginning to your new life as my herald. The closer you draw, the stronger our connection becomes. Master and servant, our minds joined forever. Shed of the hollow shell of your mortal weakness and prepare to accept the power cosmic. I can feel your mind. We are now as one. Your service begins now as my... Who are you? Hey, it's me, Franklin. Switcheroo. And Franklin says, my dad couldn't make it. He's got a planet to save. And we see Reed turn on the energy to maximum. Subspace chamber override protocols. They overload the system. And they overload Reed. And Galactus is like, I can feel... What is the purpose of this attack? I don't understand. And Franklin, feeling both of them at the same time with so much power, attacks Galactus with his brain psionic energy. We believe in a simple philosophy in this family, that you are never truly defeated unless you are destroyed from within. And victory comes from not surviving, but remaining ourselves. And we see the Fantastic Four run out and go attack him. Sue saves Franklin by putting him in a little bubble. The Thing jumps out and gives Galactus one big ol' thud kick, or thud punch in the face, and then Galactus just floats away. That's it. Very anticlimactic, I won't lie. But, continuing on, 2009 now, the power overload in the subspace chamber left my father in a permanent vegetative state. Having been saved from Galactus, the world picked up right where it left off. People once again found things to fight over, reasons to hope, because that's what you do when you have a future. It's easy to give up, wrapped up what's coming next, but we don't really take time to appreciate what happened. We just forget sometimes. And we see in Times Square, Latveria on the move. There's a bunch of Dr. Dooms. What's that? It's going to be next issue. The Thing and Alicia are buying a house, and we see the Fantastic Four go up to Johnny's grave. Reed Richard is a vegetable, like his son said, so yeah. But continuing on with Franklin, we forget how lucky we are just to be here. We forget that life is good even when it's not. How did we ever forget that this was supposed to be a party, that everything worth saving comes from each other? Something my dad once told me. The sky exists so that we have no choice but to look up once in a while. Sometimes all we need is a reminder. And that's the end of issue 5. Now we're going to go to issue 6, the 2010s. That cover is a sad sack of Fantastic Four. I mean, geez, just put the team down at that point like a dead dog. But anyways, it's titled Latveria, so gonna get into the last villain of the Fantastic Four. Who could that be? Not Doctor Doom. Just kidding, yeah, it is Doctor Doom. Thank you for listening, however you enjoy this media. We'll see you next time. Peace out.